Hello and welcome to week 36 of the Ray of Hope Crochet Along, and this week we're making the shell stitch. So this is a nice simple stitch. It's a 2-row repeat, and I've chosen to do this one in 3 colours, but you can do it in any number of colours you like, or a single colour, and it will still work up well. So how do we make it? Okay, so we're going to be using a 3.5mm hook for this one, and we're going to start with a chain of 80. So for row 1, in the 3rd chain from your hook, you're going to make a single crochet. Okay, and then just single crochet in each stitch across. Oops. And you're just going to make a single crochet in every stitch, and you'll have 79 stitches including your turning chain. Okay, so I'll carry on with this and I shall see you at the end of the row. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row and I've got 1 stitch left. So I'm going to single crochet into this last stitch, but in the last 2 loops I'm going to switch colour. Okay, and I'm going to switch colour to, I'm going to stick with greens for this stitch. So I'm just going to use all the greens. There we go, where's my yarn gone? There we go. So I'm just going to pull that through the last 2 loops. And then I'm going to turn and chain 1. Okay, so row 2. In the first stitch you're going to make the alternate turning chain. And finish it off. And grab my stitch marker. Okay, so in the same stitch as my turning chain, I'm going to make 2 double crochet. 1 and 2. Right, so now we're going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and into the next stitch we're going to make a slip stitch. Then we're going to skip 2 stitches, and in the next stitch we're going to make 5 double crochet all in the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Skip 2 stitches and make a slip stitch. Try and keep the slip stitches loose because we'll be working into them again later. Skip 2 stitches and make 5 double crochet all in the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, you can see the shells coming through. So I started the row with a half a shell, and then we've got our 5 double crochet to make the shell, and in between we've got those slip stitches. So the pattern for the row is 5 double crochet in 1 stitch, skip 2 stitches, make a slip stitch, skip 2 stitches, 5 double crochet in the next stitch. So I'm going to carry on with that, and I shall see you when we get to the end of the row. Okay, so I've done my last slip stitch of the row and I've got 3 stitches left. So I'm going to skip the next 2 stitches and then into the top of the turning chain I'm going to make 3 double crochet all in the same stitch. 1, 2, and I'm going to make the 3rd one, but in the top of this one I'm going to change colours again. So I'm going to bring in a third green, using all the greens for this one. Okay, new colour, turn, and chain one. Okay, so row 3. We've done our chain one, and in the first stitch we're going to make a single crochet. Just grab my stitch marker. Okay, so we're going to skip the double crochet. I'm going to go straight for the slip stitch, and into the slip stitch we're going to make 5 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to skip the next 2 double crochet, and in the third, so this is the third of the set of 5 to make the shell, we're going to slip stitch into the top. Skip the next 2 double crochet, and into the slip stitch make 5 double crochet all in the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip the next 2 double crochet, and in the middle one of that set of 5 slip stitch. You see how the shells just sit inside each other, and that's the pattern for this whole row. So after you slip stitch, you skip the next 2 double crochet, straight into the slip stitch. You'll make 5 double crochet all in that same stitch. Skip the next 2 double crochet and slip stitch into the next double crochet, which is going to be the third in your set of 5 in one stitch. So I'm going to carry on with that, and I shall see you when we get to the end of the row. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row, and I've done my last 5 double crochet in the same stitch. And to finish, I'm just going to skip these next 2 double crochet, and in the last stitch I'm going to single crochet. But I'm also going to change colours again. I'm just going to bring up my original green colour and pull through those last 2 loops. Then I'm going to turn and chain 1. Okay, so this stitch is going to be a repeat of rows 3 and 4. So to start row 4, okay, we're going to make the alternate turning chain in the first stitch. Okay, and then in the same stitch as the turning chain, I'm going to make another 2 double crochet. So we made this same pattern in row 2. It's just that instead of skipping the stitches of the single crochet row, we're going to be skipping stitches and shells. Okay, so we're going to skip the next 2 double crochet, and in the next one we're going to slip stitch. Skip the next 2 double crochet, and in the slip stitch you're going to make 5 double crochet. Sound familiar? It's exactly the same as the row below, except we're just starting a bit differently. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then skip 2 stitches, slip stitch in the next one. Skip 2 stitches and make 5 double crochet in the slip stitch. So this is the pattern for the entire row, and you're going to repeat it all the way to the end. So when you have 3 stitches left, you'll skip 2 stitches and then make 3 double crochet all in the same stitch, and then just change colour in that last double crochet, and then for the rest of the piece you're going to repeat rows 3 and 4 until you've got 9 rows in total. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish this piece, and I shall see you in a moment for the slip stitch border. Okay, so I finished all 9 rows of the shell stitch. You can see all the shells nicely interlocked together. Your last row does ripple, but don't worry, once you've got your slip stitch border on and joined it to last week's piece, this will all turn out just fine, be nice and square. Okay, so for your slip stitch border, across the bottom you're going to make a slip stitch into every single stitch. So you'll have 79 stitches across the bottom. Then you'll make a slip stitch into each of the 5 double crochet in your shell and into the slip stitch as well. So you'll have 79 slip stitches across the top as well. Down the sides you're going to make 1 slip stitch into the side of every single crochet row and 2 slip stitches into the side of every double crochet row, except for row 8. You're only going to make 1 slip stitch in that double crochet row, so you'll have a stitch count of 14. So once you finish that, you can go ahead and weave in your ends and join it to last week's piece. So I hope you enjoy that stitch, and I shall see you next week for week 37. Bye for now.